Hello guys, my name is Julinha and today I wanted to offer some corrections for some typical issues I see when bachata followers start to transition to Brazilian Zouk and start learning head movements, but not only for people who have been dancing bachata previously, also people who are just new to head movements. They also sometimes do these exact mistakes. And keep in mind, I'm going to talk about the technique we use in Brazilian Zouk. I don't know enough about bachata to say whether or not specific techniques are applicable in bachata and how it works. It's another dance. Just how we would do things in Brazilian Zouk. Whenever we do rotisserie turns, this one is very, very common also for people who just start learning head movement technique. What I do see in the rotisserie turns is very often the movement being too square, with the followers having too much intention just up and down rather than circular. I'm going to try to demonstrate what I see. Very often I see this happening. And instead of a more circular movement, which will create a bit more flow and a more stable connection. I have 3 steps how we can avoid this issue. Number 1 is try to avoid going too deep in the contraction. In a circular head movement, you would want to go a bit deeper in the contraction, bend at the knees, but this is a rotisserie turn, so it's a bit of a different technique. What we want to do here is we want to maintain this first axis that we get from our leader, which is diagonally up. It's not horizontal here. So sometimes if you go too deep to the contraction here, and then it's too hard to stay here for the extension, and then you need to come up, which creates this bumpiness. From the get-go, I want to keep this diagonal axis, keep the contraction much, much smaller than in a normal circular head, and this is already more than enough. Number 2 is keeping the head too straight in the middle of your chest. Again, for circular head movement, you would keep your nose usually to the front, but in rotisserie turns, we have this motion going on with our nose pointing towards our shoulders. What we want to do is this. First, we want to look over our left shoulder in this case, and then I keep this looking down, and then I watch over my right shoulder, and in the end I watch up. For this specific movement, for any other rotisserie turn, I could be looking first over my right shoulder, looking up over my left shoulder, looking down again. And then the third correction that I have for you is working a bit more with the rib cage and your sides. Sometimes I see the followers too focused on only the extension and the closing, which could look like this: extend, close, extend. But the idea is I also want to have this tilts inside of my movement, because my head needs to go through all the 4 positions, the same as in circular head movement. So what I want to think here is, I want to first close the left side of my ribcage, then I want to bring my right shoulder around, close the right side. Now I open the left again, bring the left shoulder around, then I open the right as well, and bring the other shoulder around. Alexia Cavalli talks very often about this technique. I can show you from the back, and I'm going to close my ribcage here, and I'm going to bring the shoulder around, close the other side. Now I'm opening this side, the left again, open the right as well. And then I have a much more circular movement led by my ribcage, rather than just thinking about closing and opening. I hope you could see the difference. Have fun practicing.